Let's make a silk dress for a little doll. So we have been working on dresses for this young lady, and we have made her a cotton dress and a wool dress, so obviously we gotta do silk now. So she has all her underpinnings on. I took her last dress off so that we are good to go. As a reminder, we're using the Home Book for Pleasure and Instruction, which is an 1868, 1869, somewhere in there book that has a whole chapter on dolls, and so we're using the patterns there. I did make my own patterns based on the illustrations because they weren't to size. So I got patterns now. We're also going to make a jacket for her so she has a little bit more outerwear. Got that pattern here. I'm thinking this for the dress. I'm hoping I have enough. I don't know if I will. We'll see. And then just regular brown wool. Anyway, we're going to line that in pink. And I have this beautiful little blue fringe that we're going to use to go around the bottom of the jacket. So let's get started. Slight change of plan. We are not using the pink to line this coat because I didn't have quite enough for it. So we're going to do this blue, which I think will look better. Oh, I will also need to cut the lining. I forgot about that. Alright, I just stitched together the one seam in the skirt. Now I'm putting on a facing on the bottom of the skirt. I don't even remember what this fabric was from. Usually in my scrap bin, I like know, oh, this is from this dress, this is from this dress, this is from this jacket or this project. I don't remember ever using purple silk, so I don't know where it came from. But it's pretty, so I'm glad I had it. Alright, I did sew the sleeves together. I haven't done any of the handwork involved, but I figured let's go ahead and sew the bodice. I'm going to make it close at the back like the rest of them. I don't really see any directions in the book regarding that, but I like things closing at the back. Just makes it easy since all the rest of them have done the same. So that's what we're going to do. I can now iron all that open. I guess I can fit her for darts, but we'll need to finish off the neckline too. I'll have to figure out how I'm going to do that. I assume probably a binding. Alright, I did a little fitting on the doll, so now we have darts to do. I'm also going to do a little bit. I needed to take a dart in the back. Actually, we're going to do this part first. Anyway, I need to take a dart in the back. And so we're going to go ahead and do the little curve seam that is seen on adult dresses, since I already had to take a dart anyway. Let's put in a sleeve. I think that's right. This may be easier to do by hand. Actually, it probably will be. I'm going to do it by hand. That's not worth shoving in there. Maybe on the antique machine? You know what? Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, tiny little sewing machine foot for the win. Let's see. Yes. So next up we are, well, I bound the top and bottom, and I'm going to just sew this by hand so you don't see it from the front. I don't see doll dresses that are piped very often. I think because that's just a lot of work, and it's very tiny and fiddly, and you couldn't get the scale right because, you know, period piping on dresses is already so tiny. You'd have to use basically a thread weight in that piping, and then it wouldn't even be noticeable. I like to start in the middle and then work my way either direction when I do things like this. And although we've been, you know, doing the kind of fancy dresses with this doll. I think we're going to leave this one fairly plain. Like we did the braiding with the wool. The cotton had just a very pretty pattern and hem to it. So I think we'll leave this one a little bit plainer, mostly because my other option is sewing velvet braid or velvet ribbon on it, and that's just, I don't feel like doing that around the bodice and all that. Around the skirt would be easy, but those sleeves are kind of tiny on this thing. I am going to add a little bit of a yarn or something to the back to close it so I can tie it shut. Or really a tape of some kind. Actually, you know what? I probably have some really nice purple 1/8 inch silk ribbon. That would be a great thing to tie this off with. Okay, this will be the closest purple that I have, which isn't fantastic, but it works. So I will just sew this right into that waistband. Oops. There we go. Okay. Took a second to get that all the way in. I'll do the same for the top as well. Of course, the other side I have to do the whole thing. But real quick, before I turn the camera off, I haven't finished the facing here. So I will go ahead and do the rest of this, and then sewing the bodice and the skirt together, adding the ties and all of that fun stuff, and we will come back again to do the jacket, which I'm hoping will be pretty fast. Alright, coat. Starting with the sleeves. And this should be a very unfitted jacket, as was kind of popular in the 60s. I was talking about how I don't remember where the purple silk came from at all. I still don't. I don't exactly remember where the brown wool came from either, but I've used so much brown wool. It honestly looks a lot like one of my wrapper fabrics. It could be that. It's just, I just have so much fabric this color. And then this is actually a cotton silk blend, and I made a bonnet from it many, many years ago that I sold also many, many years ago. Alright, this is the jacket, right sides together. I'm going to sew the top and the bottom and flip it out. Taking a little bit of extra fabric, and I'm putting it on the edges, or at least the front pieces, so I can fold it under. That's kind of like a facing. And I'm sewing in the sleeves by hand just because I figured it'd be faster. I could go back to the other machine, but I unthreaded the other machine, and I figured by the time I thread it and then go around the little tiny arm side, I could probably just do it by hand just as fast. Finishing the sleeve, which is just a back stitch. Just getting the lining so that the black thread doesn't get shown on the front side. I'm thinking a single hook and eye at the top should close this on the doll. I mulled around doing like a frog type closure, what we would now call a frog type closure. I mold around. One of my favorite closures for things like this and for some wrappers will be a button on either side, and then some silk embroidery floss that's been twisted around, and then you use the buttons to close it. I know that made absolutely no sense. Something of that nature. And I thought about all that, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. For the time being, we'll just do a hook and eye. Mostly because I don't think I have any good buttons. I'm looking at my button stash. I have some wooden ones, which would not be appropriate for anything like this. I have plenty of mother pearl, which I wouldn't consider appropriate for a coat. So I think we're just going to stick with hooks and eyes. I found cute little buttons. I don't know why I bought them, but they're really tiny, little original. If I can get the camera to focus, there we go. Gutta percha buttons, and they have a little flower on them, and they are adorable, and they are perfectly doll sized. It's great. So we're gonna go ahead and do the 2-button thing. So it's 2 buttons in a loop, button on either side, loop goes over the button, and that's what closes the garment. And so I'm taking some silk floss, and I've seen them multicolored, so like if there was a plaid or something, having the colors of the plaid in the loop is totally fine. I didn't have a good blue that matched this or even the trim color, so we're doing it this way. Anyway, you twist it all up, fold it in half somehow, and it creates a nice thicker twist. I gotta make mine exactly the same length, otherwise it's gonna look weird. So I have this other one here to kind of guide me. Yeah, and then you just tie it off, make sure they're, again, the same length. I'm actually super excited about this. I've only ever done this, I think, twice before, and I don't have either garment. I've sold them off. So, and this is the first time I think we've done this on the channel, so I'm super excited about teaching something that's new. Let's see, I need to put a button here. Thread. This button has an up and a down, so we make sure that they're all the same way. Put it down. Okay. Go back up. There may be a better way to attach this. This is just what I do, so put my thread through the loops to kind of hold it down. Put it around the button. And then go through the hole out the other way. And just to double check that it's going to work, put it over like that. And you want them to meet. Like you don't want a gap, you don't want it, you know, too over, you want it to meet. And that is how you do a button loop closure. That's what I call it. There's probably an official name out there, and if someone knows the official name, I would love for someone to tell me, because I literally call it the button loop. I taught first grade for 8 years. I like simplifying things. And I'm only doing buttons to the waist, which you do see on some jackets. I think it would look a lot better if the loops were of the blue. But again, I have like 3 shades of blue silk floss, and none of them were close to this shade. So now we're going to put on trim. This trim in scale is probably too big for a doll, but it'll at least give it a little bit more of the blue. Hoping that's not too thick, because it is pretty thick, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I ought to just leave it. Or not do it. Maybe I should just do it around the hem. That just seems weird though. I'm not liking this. I think we might leave it untrimmed. Alright, here we are with our little Dolly. And her beautiful silk dress. This dress does fit her very well, which is nice. Here we go. Alright. A nice beautiful dress. Beautiful color of silk too. I mean, that's just quite lovely. So nice and fitted. I think this is the first fitted bodice we've done for her. We did gathery bodices the last 2 times. I think it was high time she had something that's very nice and fitted and showed off her little waist. And one thing I really love about these dolls too is that yes, they look super tiny in terms of like their waist and that sort of thing, but once you get the underpinnings on, they actually look proportionate to actual people. I mean, she has like no bust line, just a tiny little bust, but that's a decent sized waist compared to the rest of her frame, if that makes sense, which I really appreciate. You know, with all the modern conjecture nowadays about dolls being, and you know, Disney princesses or whatever, people want them to be more realistic for little girls' self-esteem. And here's the 1860s doing it 160 years before that even became an issue, which is really kind of cool to see. And yeah, maybe the dress would look a little bit better trimmed out. But I don't know. I think sometimes the natural simplicity of just a very beautiful silk speaks for itself. And just so, like, look at all that. It's a good length on her. Like, that's just a beautiful little bell-shaped skirt. Lovely. Alright, now let's try the jacket. It is a sack coat, so it's not supposed to be super fitted. But look at that! Look how adorable! I really need a stand for her. But yeah, just a nice unfitted sack coat. Very 1860s. Kind of just see the waistline. Again, unfitted. Little open sleeves. The little lining poking out. But just look at that. Look at how absolutely adorable that is. Okay. I am quite thrilled with that. I really didn't know what I was doing when I started this yesterday evening. And yeah, I knew I was going to do a silk dress because we were due for a silk dress. I looked through the stash, went, hey, I have enough of this, and I have enough of this, and I have enough of this. And just kind of let things happen as they happened. And I am immensely thrilled with how it turned out, given that there was no thought or plan given into this. And things like the braiding, like I said this last time, I will probably never get a fully braided dress myself because of the amount of time it takes to do that. And I just don't have the time to give myself something like that. But I can use the skills and get a doll that same outfit, and it's just as pretty because I get to stare at it. It is super cute. I think next month we're going to make her another dress in some other form of outerwear, probably a bonnet. Although she has that hairnet, so I don't know. We'll figure that out. And I'm not entirely sure what kind of dress she's going to get. I don't know if she needs another silk dress because this turned out fantastic. I'm between like a cotton that's not sheer and another silk. I do think she would look absolutely adorable in like a very nice bright blue cotton print, and I'm staring at one right now in my closet that I'm like, ooh, that would look so good on her. Anyway, I think that's just about it for our little doll outfit this month. I'm very thrilled with it. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Click that little bell notification so you're notified anytime I upload a new video. And as always, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here in the next video.